All right. So thank you for joining us for our career conversation series today. And today we are sitting down with Amy Freeman, who has been a hairstylist for a number of years. And we're so excited to get to hear more about what she does every day. And without further ado, let me just scooch forward on my, there we go. I am your moderator today. My name is Reese Perez, and I am the CTE and High School Curriculum Coordinator. And I'm with Sequoia Grove Charter Alliance. And Amy, why don't you start by telling us a little bit about you?
Well, I've been a hairstylist for about 19 years now, and I've worked in 3 different salons and have been a salon owner now for about 5 years.
Awesome. Love that. You've been in it. Actually, I didn't know that you'd been in it for 19 years. That's amazing. Did you go into this right out of high school?
I did an ROP program when I was in high school. And so I started, I think, my junior year of high school and graduated beauty school and high school around the same time. So yeah, I was just a bee.
Love that. I love ROP too. Shout out to ROP.
Love ROP. Great program.
How would you describe what you do every day?
Well, I work with people doing their hair, making them look beautiful, all the while building relationships with my clients, which is partly my favorite. Of course, I love the process of doing hair, but the relationships that I've built with my clients over the years has just been the best part of my job.
Absolutely. Mine included.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, but it's great. It's one of my favorites of making people look beautiful. You can be creative, and it's a great career.
Very cool. And so you said you got started in your career with ROP, but what were the requirements and the education, and what did that look like?
So I have to try and remember back, but going to the ROP program, I knew you had to have a certain amount of credits done up until before your junior year to be able to go into this program, because it takes you away from high school. I was only in class, I think, for 3 hours in the morning, and then I would leave and go to beauty school for the rest of the afternoon. Keeping your grades up, you have to keep a grade point average in order to do the ROP program, and then doing for beauty school, it's a certain amount of, it was at the time 1,600 hours of beauty school. So it was a long, only doing it part-time back then. It took a couple years to get through it.
Right.
And then passing, of course, the state test.
Okay. And what does that look like? Is that something where you just sign up for it and it's just a paper pencil test? You go in and you do something, or do you have to do hair to actually get your
It's practical. There's a written version and then a practical version. And so whatever beauty school you would go to, they help you and guide you through. I mean, the beauty schools are so amazing. The one that I went to was family owned in the area, and they're so helpful. They want you to succeed. And so they kind of help you get all set up, and you apply after you finish a certain amount of hours, you apply for your test. And it's the written version is around 100 to 150 questions. And then the practical is a 8-hour long test of performing different things, as in you would think it's color, but it's not. You kind of simulate the color process, a perm process, a haircut, with different chemicals, but it's mostly, the practical exam is all about safety measures and doing everything sanitary and how the state wants you to do it. And so a lot of it, I always tell people, I'm like, when you're in beauty school, just focus on passing that test. Don't think about oh my gosh, you get overwhelmed with how am I going to do this and all the different things without your instructors. guiding you and everything. But once you get into doing hair, it comes with each client, and you learn and you make mistakes along the way, but you figure it out, and they're all learning curves. But the practical exam is mostly geared around, what the state wants you to, how the state wants you to do everything sanitary.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So, what does your line of work entail? So, tell us about a day in the life.
Well, I do on a full day, I have probably about 6 clients, sometimes 7, depending on how many, color, like a color and a haircut takes me about 2 hours per client. If I'm just doing a haircut, it takes about 45 minutes to an hour long. And I just do each one throughout the day, and it's kind of just back to back. I mean, you can schedule. That's the great thing about this job and why I love it, is that I can create my own schedule and do as long of a day as I want, as little of a day as I want. But of course, the more clients you get in, the more money you make.
Absolutely.
So I tend to pack them in a full day, and yeah, it's about 2 hours per client, sometimes more, sometimes less, depending on how much you're doing on that client, how much hair they have. And that's about it.
Awesome. So, what do you like about what you do? I know you mentioned building relationships with your clients. Is there anything that you dislike about what you do?
There can be downfalls, of course. You're dealing with so many different personalities. I'm fortunate with an amazing clientele after 19 years, but I've definitely had my fair share of people who expect a lot out of you, have difficult personalities, have difficult hair. The learning curve, like I said in the beginning, when you are learning, and you have to have grace for yourself, and hopefully you have clients who have grace for you. Sometimes there are those clients that don't have that grace, and if you make mistakes, I mean, fortunately, I haven't, that I can think of, made a detrimental mistake. One of the funniest stories that I have, people love to ask me all the time, of like, what's the biggest mistake you've made? And I had this longtime client. I loved her. She was older with gray hair, and we just did a little root touch up to kind of make her gray more blonde. And I had a color box where it's a neutral base, a blue base, and a violet base. And you got to really read those numbers on the box. And I grabbed a blue base when I should have grabbed a neutral base. And when I went to go rinse her out, she had about an inch outgrowth of blue hair. And luckily, it was after I'd been doing hair for a long time. It's an easy fix. I told her we were in the bowl, and I said, Katie, don't be alarmed. Your hair is blue, but I'm going to fix it right now.
I had no idea. And I'm sure that those listening don't either, but so much of what you do revolves around chemistry, right?
Yes. Yeah.
It's a lot of balancing of colors and of the right amounts of things, right?
The right amounts of things. And then too, when you mix different colors, you learn in beauty school of the color wheel, and what colors cancel out other colors when you do have to make color corrections. And you get clients that come in that have ruined their hair with box color, or gone to another stylist and they don't like what they've done, and you've got to now kind of figure out what you're going to do to cancel out these colors that they don't like in their hair and get it looking better, and hopefully what they want.
Oh yeah, I can only imagine fixing lots of mistakes along the way, right? I know I've been there, so yeah. I can only imagine what you deal with.
It's a fun challenge, though.
So, Amy, what sorts of shifts do you work? Do you work every day of the week? Do you have days off? Is it just totally based on what you want? What does that look like?
I pretty much work right now. I've kind of changed it over the years, and right now I am back to full time. I work Monday. I work pretty much every day except for Thursday and Sunday, and that's only because I have you've been to my salon. It's a smaller salon that I share with somebody, and so she uses it all day on Thursdays. Um, we used to be in an even smaller salon that we worked opposite days, and I would work all day, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and she was there Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. But that's what's great about this job is that you do just kind of make your own schedule and how you want to do it. I tend to work half days on Mondays because I've got other stuff that I want to do, and then I do full day Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. It's just a great job that you can work around. I used to have another part-time job that I worked with on my off days, and so I can do that. I know people who want to be moms. It's a great job to do that and be able to be flexible and be home with your babies. And so, yeah, that's pretty what I love about this job.
Love that it's so flexible. It just allows you to be able to schedule the time for the things that you want to do outside of work, but still focus on your career too.
Yeah. And you have to be diligent too to like be available for those clients. You know, I work a lot of late evenings that a lot of people don't really like doing late evenings. I don't mind it, but you got to be flexible and available for those clients who work during the week or their husbands work during the week and they can't come in until the evening or on Saturdays. And so that's kind of sometimes the downfall of the schedule. But, you know, when you have a job that you enjoy going into work, it doesn't, when you're there late in the evenings, sometimes I'm there till 8 or 9 o'clock at night, but I don't mind.
Yep. Totally understand that. Yeah. Late working and it takes a lot of motivation, right? To continue like working during those times that you don't want to necessarily, or like with this question, like how much time do you get to take off every year?
Yeah, I do take off. Like I just got back into town I was out of town for a few days with my family. And so I'm able to work in vacations, at least a few vacations a year or like long weekends. But you also like through the holidays when people are taking time off for holiday season, that is our busiest time of year because everybody's got the holiday parties that they need their hair done. And that's always kind of been a thing for me, and my family and friends don't really love it, but I'm like, November and December, I just gotta put my head down and get through it. And I'll take a vacation in January.
Love that. What is the most challenging? Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say on that note with like the beginning, you mentioned like putting the work in. The hardest part is those first few years of building up your clientele. And I'm to a point now after 19 years where I have great clients that are flexible with my schedule and they allow me to take vacations. And when I can't get them in right away, they're fine and can wait a minute. But in the beginning, the first few years, I would say at least like the first year, for sure the first year, like maybe second year too, it's a lot of perseverance and just building up that clientele, building those relationships with your clients, and like just kind of sitting around waiting for the clients. You know, my first year was a lot of just hanging out in the salon, waiting for those call-ins, walk-ins. It's definitely I don't know what the word is. It's a lot of patience, and it takes a bit, but it's so worth it in the end.
Totally. Well, yeah, that's definitely one of your biggest challenges, getting into it, right? And getting established. What's the most rewarding thing that you've done in this career?
Oh, just when you have those clients that just love coming to see you, they love your work. I just had a client literally 2 days ago, and she said she was going through old pictures and she sent me texted me a screenshot of this picture, and she said, I just love your work. I love my hair in this picture. Thank you so much. And she's been a client for probably 15 years. And she's like, I'm so fortunate to have had a hairstylist for as long as I've had you. And I just love love looking at pictures of myself and loving my hair. And that is so rewarding to me. It just felt so good.
Oh, yay. Good. Love that. Yep. And you've done a number for my hair too over the years too. Yeah. But I've thrown some curveballs at you. So
right.
You taking that in stride.
I know. I love it though.
What is a common misconception about what you do?
I think just like kind of getting the reputation that we're just a hairstylist, that it's not of, I just had this conversation a couple weeks ago with somebody that like, I don't know, sometimes we don't get the credit I think that we deserve of like the work that we've put in and how valuable, you know, through the whole pandemic and everything, I think we started to get that reputation or get that validation a little bit more, because when people couldn't come see us, it was all of a sudden everybody didn't know what to do with themselves.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like people are like, oh, just a hairstylist. And, you know, it's a lot of work. And like you said, the chemistry part of it and the like everything that you have to learn going into it, it's definitely not as easy as people think it is.
Right. Well, based on everything that we've discussed, what would be your biggest piece of advice for anyone looking into getting into your career?
I would job shadow a hairstylist and see, like, go and see, follow her around for the day, him or her, for the day, because there's lots of guys getting into it at this point, like this day. You know, it didn't used to be that way, but for sure we have a lot of guys actually in our building where my salon is. But yeah, follow them around for the day and just see how much, like, see what it looks like, see the relationship with the clients, and if that's something you'd be interested in. And you could even go tour a beauty school and kind of see what that looks like, meet with the educators there. They have great knowledge. All the educators that I dealt with were amazing. They had great knowledge. They have great connections with salons in the area. So yeah, that's what I
Love
would
that.
do.
So they're not just casting you out into the world after you graduate. I love that.
Yeah, no, they were awesome. The school, I went to Citrus Heights Beauty College, and they were awesome. They're family owned. They even, if you come back years later, it was amazing how much they like remember after like thousands of students that go through. But if you ever need help, they're always willing to help you out.
Oh, very cool. Well, I totally appreciate your time, Amy. At this point, if you're okay with it, I'd love to open it up to questions. If Selah has any questions for you.
Yeah.
Selah, go ahead and unmute yourself if you have any questions.
How do you use math in your work?
Math? There's not a lot of math.
That sounds amazing for me.
I am not a math person at all.
Neither am I.
I would say if anything, it's just like, you know, when you do become, if you want to be a business owner and not work for a salon, and figuring out just like price points. And if you like, we have a product line that we sell, and so then you have to like figure out the prices on that and all that. But other than that, well, I should actually take that back. When you're measuring, you do have to do like, you know, ounces here and there, but luckily everything has little measurement. It's like a measuring cup where you can perfectly see the lines, and you really don't have to do the math yourself. Thank goodness.
Love that. Selah, any other questions?
What's it like doing black hair?
There's definitely some training. And so I have to say that I have two African-American women that I do, and it is more difficult for sure. You've got to really be, as you know, like pull the hair real taut when you're cutting it. As far as like African American men, it's pretty difficult. They train you at a barbering school how to do that. So that's another thing that you could go on. I thought about going on to do that because actually get your barbering license is completely different than your cosmetology license. And they definitely train more in that aspect. But there's classes that you can take to learn more about that.
Okay.
Wonderful. Well, Amy, thanks again for all your time and for sitting down with me this morning and with Sayla. And we hope you have a wonderful day.
Yeah, you guys too. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for coming. And if we don't have any other questions, I think we're pretty much all done here for the day.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.